Hello, my 4B friends. Happy asynchronous day. So today I want to dive back into what we talked about either yesterday or last week, the nonfiction text features that you are going to be seeing popping up in all of your books, whether in real life books or on the computer books that are trying to teach you something, whether about someone, like how we learned about Ella Fitzgerald, the jazz musician, or about something like an animal or a part of science. So today I have another story that I'm going to be sending to you on Epic, so I hope you check it out. And we are going to be learning 2 new nonfiction text features. But before we can do that, let me remind you exactly what nonfiction means. Okay, first graders, you might already remember this, but let me show you just in case. Fiction and nonfiction, they both have the word fiction in them, but you might see that nonfiction has this word non. Non means not, it means no. So let's think about that when reading the names. Fiction, a story that has made up characters and events. Fiction, fake, false. It's not a true story. It might be about something that's real, like it might be a Lion King, right? That's about lions, which are real, but it's a story. So Lion King would be an example of a fiction story, whereas nonfiction is not fake. It's not false. It's a real book that's telling you, it's teaching you, and explaining something that's real. So like a book about lions. So you have the fiction is a story, and nonfiction is trying to teach you about that thing, that animal, that person, that part of science. So I've been using my lion book as a good example. You can see here is The Very Hungry Caterpillar, which is a story, whereas this is a whole book, just like mine, that's teaching you about caterpillars and butterflies. So if you like reading fake stories, go fiction. If you like learning about something and wanting to know more about it, then maybe you like nonfiction. No matter which one you like to read, in first grade, we'll be doing a lot of nonfiction reading and writing now. So you need to know the different parts of a nonfiction book. And that's where this puppy comes in, your nonfiction text features journal. So a text feature is a part of a story. Just like how every story has a title, that's a feature, right? So a text feature for a nonfiction book might be like what we learned about yesterday, table of contents and headings, or maybe you learned this last week with me. So a heading is at the top of the page, and it's telling you what the whole story is going to be about. So in my lion book, this chapter is What Am I? So it's going to be explaining what a lion is to you. On this page, big cats. It's going to be teaching you all about how a lion is related to cats and tigers and leopards. Lion around. This one's going to be telling you where the lions live. So a heading tells you what the chapter or the page is going to be about. The other part that we learned about last time was the table of contents. A table of contents tells you where to look in the book, where to look in the book, where to look in the book. So if you find the table of contents at the start of your book, there it is, it'll tell you what are you looking for. If you want to learn about cubs or how they hunt or how they are big cats, it tells you where to look in the book, page 6 or page 14 or page 22. And you could turn to that page and you would find that chapter. You got to read about Ella Fitzgerald, the jazz musician, who I hope to talk a little bit more of when we talk about musicians in class for Black History Month. But you got to learn about her and use that in your book to find an example of a table of contents and a heading. Today, I have a new story that I've sent you on to Epic. So if you jump on to Epic today, it might have this pop up for you, especially if you've already done last time's activity. And it should say, start my assignment. If you don't have this book pop up for you, it should just be found in your mailbox. So here you can see the Ella Fitzgerald book that I had sent you, the holiday book. This is our one for today. You can click on that, and that's another way you can find it. Don't worry, it will read it to you if you're having a little bit of trouble reading it. But I want you to find examples of what we're learning today. Hey, check it out. There's already a table of contents. Oh, and a heading. What is a holiday? There's two new things, though, that I want to teach you while you're reading this book. And those are, drumroll please, a label and a photograph. Maybe you've heard of both of these words, or maybe you've just heard of one. These are the next two nonfiction text features that I'll be looking for in my Lion book, and you'll be looking for in today's nonfiction book called What is a Holiday? Let's start learning about a label. A label points to something in a picture. Now, it might be a drawing, or it might be what's called a photograph. Has anyone ever taken a photograph, maybe with an iPad or a parent's cell phone or with a camera or video camera? Well, a photograph is a picture of a real thing. So it's a real picture. Whereas maybe if you've read a book with me in class, like when we were reading our folktale stories, those are all pictures or drawings. A photograph is something that you need to take with a camera. So here I have a drawing of a ladybug, and I have a photograph of a ladybug. In your book today, online, the What is a Holiday, I want you to find an example of a photograph. While you're doing that, though, you might see something like this, where it has a word and a little arrow pointing to something. I mean, look at this. It says spot, and it's pointing to a spot. It says head, and it's pointing to a head. It says wings, and it's pointing to the wings. Just like how in math class, when we're doing a story problem, we have labels in our nonfiction books. A label points to something in a picture. It tells you what it is. In a story problem, your label says what you're counting. Well, in a nonfiction book, a label points to something in the picture and tells you what it is. You're not exactly counting it, but it does tell you what it is. So let's see if we can find examples of a photograph and a label. Already, right on the cover of the page, I see a photograph, a real picture of a lion. Let's keep looking. There's a picture of a lion. There's one. Oh my gosh, there's one. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one. Whoa. There's one, there's one. There's one, there's one. There. I'm seeing a bunch of photographs in my nonfiction book about lions. So I'm getting to see in a nonfiction book a real picture of what something looks like, not just what it looks like in the story. Remember when we were learning about sharks or possums or jellyfish, whatever we're learning about, we often go to Google and look at pictures of the real thing. That way you can see how the drawing and the picture look the same or different. If you're looking at some pictures in the book, though, you might see little tiny words pointing to something in the picture. Tiger, leopard, jaguar. It's telling you what the picture is of. Mane, and it's pointing to the mane. This is an example of a label where it has the photograph and it wants to teach you something about the photograph. Oh my gosh, this is like that one about the ladybug. It has a picture of a real lion and then points to different parts of the lion's body. Eye, ears, tongue, teeth, claws, tail, legs, and it tells you about that, what it is and what it does. Ears, they can hear prey more than a mile away. Tail, a long tail helps lions balance as it runs and turns. I don't know that. But this is what I want you looking for today. Not just a photograph, but examples of labels where it points to something. Once you find an example of that nonfiction text feature, I want you to open up to the next part in your nonfiction journal. Don't forget to write the title of your book. My book is called Lions. 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 And I would draw, as best as I can, I'm not Mrs. Danya, I would draw a picture of that lion. So I like this photograph, so maybe I'll draw the lion's face, then I'll draw his ears, And then I'll draw his big bushy mane, right? And you gotta get his ears. Now he has nice slits for eyes. He has this big nose. Kind of looks like a cat nose though. He's kind of got a, isn't really smiling, but he still has whiskers because he's a big cat. Cool. I'll give him a little, he seems like he has some hair on his chin too. And have fun with this. You're allowed to color it if you want. I don't have my crayons on me right now, so Miss Romans can't exactly draw her picture. Maybe I want to do his body. And I would draw an example of the photograph that I found. And I have to tell you where I found it. So I found it in the book Lions. Today, you're going to be reading in Epic. You'll be reading What is a Holiday? So if this was your favorite page of the family cooking, you would draw that. Or maybe this family was celebrating Diwali with the sparklers. This girl celebrating Christmas, or maybe you want to draw the pumpkins. Ooh, you didn't hear it from me, but I saw a label. You'll draw an example of the photograph that you found. Pie. Once you've found your photographs, see if you can find a page that also has labels on it. So I found Super Hunters, and I'll go to my next page called Labels. Don't forget, where did you find it? Lions. Lions. And then I could draw an example of my label that I found. So maybe, because I don't think I can draw all those labels, I might just draw this one where it points to the mane. So I would draw my lion head again. Ear, ear, bushy mane, bushy mane. I got my arrow ready. Mane, long A sound. I got my nose. Kind of looks more like a bunny rabbit, but an angry bunny rabbit at that. Welcome to Miss Remit's drawing show. So I drew an example of the picture, and then I wrote the word mane, and I drew the arrow, just like how it did in my book. When you're reading on Epic today, you might find examples of labels and photographs. If you want to do the same page twice, that's okay. Maybe you want to draw a parade and then show it also on the label page that has the label parade. First graders, if you're ever forgetting what your book's called, you can go back to the beginning, or you can click down here and it'll tell you what is a holiday, or it tells you what the book is that you're reading. Well, my first grade friends, this is exciting. We learned 2 more nonfiction text features today. You might have already known what a label was, or maybe you already knew what a photograph was. You've probably seen a bunch of them. We have 4 that we know now, and next time we'll learn our 5th and final one. That way, when you are reading a nonfiction book, whether in real life or on the computer, you'll be able to know all the different non-text features, and maybe if you're doing your own nonfiction writing, you'll want to add them in. Don't forget to take out your own packet and find an example of a label and a photograph in today's story on Epic. I'll see you this afternoon, my friends. Bye.